John Harbaugh's press conference has came and went. Firings have went down this morning, and more coming up on the Good Friends Better Rivals YouTube channel. What's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Fares Adelia, and welcome to the Good Friends Better Rivals. Little stumbled a little early, but it is 7 a.m. But I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because I just had too much on my mind. It's too much on my mind, especially the New York Giants. Big news coming out this morning. But let's talk about the big news right away. We'll talk about the John Harbaugh press conference in a bit. But the big news coming out this morning and yesterday, Ronnie Barnes and Kevin Abrams, big components of the New York Giants apparatus for the last, well, for Kevin Abrams, it's been the last 30 years. For Ronnie Barnes, it's been the last 50 years because he's been with the Giants since 74. I'm trying to do some math here. So 30
Hi, I'm
years.
Adelia, by the way.
Sorry, my apologies. I was. You're right, Adelia. I'm sorry. I'm a little flustered right now.
I understand. I understand.
That is Adelia. She's joining me today as someone I can bounce some stuff off of. Yeah. So Ronnie's been here since 74. I'm trying to do some math here. 30 years would be 2004, and then 20 more years would be
50. It'd be 52 years.
50 years. 52 years he's been with the New York Giants. 52 years. And you know what? Ronnie Barnes is no longer the athletic trainer for the New York Giants. They're shifting his role to a more of an emeritus role, probably looking over the department, probably giving him a title that means nothing and still give him a check. Because there's been basically, Adelia, John Mara called him untouchable. Called him untouchable. He is untouchable. You cannot touch Ronnie. Ronnie will always be here. Ronnie's a Giant for life.
Yeah.
Ronnie was at the bedside of Wellington Mara Adelia till his last breath. That's how close he is to Mara's. He ain't going nowhere. So seeing John Harbaugh basically move him out showed you that the legal protection he has in his contract is massive. Because he is allowed to do whatever he wants. He is in power. He's in charge. And that told me everything, Adelia. That told me everything about everything. He is untouchable. John Harbaugh is now the main man. He's the head honcho. It's him and then the Maras, and that's it. Joe Shane has no power whatsoever. He's done. He's just an employee. He's just an employee. And him doing that to Ronnie Barnes proves that John is shifting everybody out. But then also here comes in the Baltimore invasion. Two people have already been hired for John Harbaugh, Megan Rosberg and Noah Riley. Noah Riley worked for the inside linebackers in Baltimore, and same thing with Megan. She worked with she was a defensive assistant. She was with the outside linebackers as well, so they're both linebacker assistants, but she's like a head assistant.
Okay.
To John, that's John's head assistant.
Okay.
Because he's known, her dad, Jerry Rosberg, was John's special teams coordinator for 10 years. Like when John got the job in 2008, Jerry was with him from 2008 to 2018, and then he retired. They tried to bring him back because Megan Rosberg, the reason she popped something in my mind isn't really about her, was really about her dad. Because her dad was almost brought back for the Ravens to help John with clock management and game issues. Well, clock issues and game management. And finding out Jerry, Adelia, to bring out to the Broncos, kind of close to your heart, that was what the Broncos hired him for that 1 year with Nathaniel Hackett in Denver.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett needed help. He was a first-time head coach. He had issues with game management. He had issues with clock management. Jerry was hired to help him. This news article by Jeff Legwood calling a replay challenge of himself just days after Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett said he was confident in his coaching staff and is able to repair the game and clock management issues. The Broncos didn't believe him.
No, and they shouldn't have believed him.
Yes.
Nathaniel Hackett was terrible at clock management. Jerry, right?
Yes, Jerry.
Rosberg He came in and it helped out with that a little bit. But that whole season with Nathaniel Hackett was a disaster from start to finish for the Broncos.
Yeah.
So,
They wanted to do that in Baltimore with John,
right.
but PR wise, it didn't go over well with Baltimore Ravens fans because they were like, you don't do offense,
Mm-hmm.
you don't do defense, and you tell me you need help with clock management and game management. That's literally your job because you are a CEO head coach. That's
Mm-hmm.
your job. And but like most CEO head coaches, let's talk about it. John won the press conference.
Okay.
18 years in this league. He knows how to run a good press conference, especially an introductory press
Yeah.
conference.
He knows how to stand in front of behind a podium and
Yes.
speak.
Yeah. So the big news coming out of that was Chris Mara was a big part of the hiring. Chris Mara's the report was Chris when John got fired, Chris wasn't waiting. He drove down to Baltimore right before the playoffs started, before the wild card round. He drove all the way down to Baltimore, and he said he didn't know John, so he had to call
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin to set up the meeting. And then when he met
Okay.
up with John, he called his brother and Steve and said, "Hey, this guy wants to be a giant.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be a giant." So just prove to you once again, it was all a sham. Every interview was a sham. They didn't care about anybody else.
Yeah.
It was the entire process was a joke because it was a
What's up,
one-track
Jay?
mind. What's up, Jay? Hope you're having a wonderful morning. It was a one-track mind. It was John Harbaugh or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, another confirmation of these were all shams.
Yeah. The other
Yeah.
interviews, total shams.
They're all total shams. John said, he said the buzzwords. We're going to have a tough, unrelenting, physical, smart, disciplined team. That's the team. He says that's the team standard. That's what the standards is. That's what Giants fans have been wanting for years. He's hitting the buzzwords for us. He's hitting all the buzzwords.
Right.
Team is what he was saying. Opportunity to win. He was impressed with Joe Shane apparently, which kind of he's probably massaging his relationship with Joe, because apparently Joe had to recuse himself towards the end of the negotiation. Because, John probably said he wanted stuff, over Joe's power, so he had to recuse himself.
Okay.
Another big component of that press conference that we'll talk about in a bit, when it came out, he said the next day they would do current staff interviews on who are they going to keep and who are they going to let go.
Right.
And then he went on someone asked him about culture and what's culture about. He talked about what's culture in real life and what's culture in football. Culture to him is a shared view of football.
Yeah. What's up, Alex?
Hey, you doing, Alex? It's like, how do they see football? Like, what do they think football is, Adelia? That's what he thinks. What is football to him? What's football to his players? Do we share the same view on football?
Right.
Someone asked him about his mentor, Andy Reid. He was in Philadelphia. He was the special teams coach for many years. He did call Andy. Andy said change can be good. That's what Andy Reid said. Well, you know what? Hopefully, change is good for us because Andy Reid has 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. And John, let's see what you do.
Yeah.
He talked about his principles. He said his football principles don't change. Methods do. Like, okay, cool. All right, fine. And then someone asked him, what do you look forward in a player? He said, guys who love football. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, dog.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's, I think, a given at this point. Like, if you're in the NFL, you probably really love to play football.
Yeah.
That's a very silly answer to me.
Mm-hmm. So 2 of the assistants in the Ravens he's bringing over, like we said, were Noah Riley. He was an assistant football analyst. He worked with the inside linebackers. And Megan Rosberg, she was a defensive assistant for the outside linebackers and defensive line, as well as she was the assistant to the head coach.
Okay.
And Jerry's the name that popped in my mind because of Megan, because Jerry helped John's clock management issues. He didn't really, because they didn't officially hire him. He didn't officially take the job, but it was talked about. But the biggest component here, Adelia, that happened last night is the entire defensive staff is gone.
Okay.
They're all fired.
Yeah. I mean, you had to have known that this was going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. Because this was one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The worst defense in the NFL. There's one person that's probably going to be kept. There's a slight chance he may be kept, and that's our interim defensive coordinator, Charlie Bullen, who is our outside linebackers coach, and he may have a chance to stay because I believe Bryant Burns and Abdul Carter vouched for him. They vouched for him.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's probably going to keep him here. Because if he doesn't get a defensive coaching gig somewhere else, because he wants a promotion. Everybody wants promotions.
I mean, he was an interim defensive coordinator. I'm sure he wants to be a defensive coordinator somewhere.
Exactly. So if he doesn't, he may be retained, or John may not retain him.
Right.
We don't know yet. There's a chance. It's not confirmed. It's not 100% guaranteed. There's a chance. Other people that were let go, Adelia, special teams coach and assistants, Mike Gorabelli, he was fired. And then we have a big news. One person that the organization, not players, but organization have said, we really like this guy, you should keep him, is offensive line coach Carmen Bursillo.
Okay.
We took him from the Raiders. He made one of the worst units in the NFL for the last 3 to 4 years. One of the worst units in the NFL.
He made them better.
We were ninth.
That's a great improvement.
We were ninth. Yeah. Because if we really think about it, great offensive lines, right? We can talk about you can draft a bunch of great offensive linemen and try to make them things, but offensive line is the only unit on the field, Adelia, where they have to move as a unit.
Right.
Like they're a unit. You know what I mean? Yeah. They work together. We have the anchor in Andrew Thomas. We have Jermaine Illuminor. They're pretty tremendous bookends. You know, we may need a new center because John Michael Schmitz, he's a little weak. He a little light. He a little light in the derriere. He gets pushed around a little bit too much. Okay. Greg Van Roten, his problem isn't skill. He's just old. He's 35.
I mean that happens.
Yeah, it happens. You know, I'm not saying, he's like trash. He's like, no, he's just old. He's getting older.
Getting older. You need someone to come in and fill his spot, basically.
Yeah, John Runyon Jr. Funny that we have John Runyon Jr. That's hilarious to me. Because of his dad.
Know who that is.
Well, his dad was an Eagle for like a million years.
Okay.
And him and Michael Strahan had wars. And now his son plays for the Giants.
Plays for the Giants.
Yeah. We took him from the Packers. He's serviceable. He's still on the the young side of 30. I think he's 30 or 29. He's on the positive side still. So there's that. We can keep him. But yeah, Carmen Bursillo is someone they want to keep. But the thing is, John wants to take some Ravens coaches specifically with him. And Ravens are blocking him from doing that because they still haven't hired their head coach yet. And they still haven't, figured out if some people would be returned or not. We tried to interview Chris Horton Jr., who is the special teams coordinator for the Ravens.
Okay.
Ravens blocked it.
Okay.
They blocked it. So we won't fill up a lot of these spots because there's some people he wants to take with him.
Right.
So we'll see. And with the Ravens, I talk to a lot of Ravens fans. Like I know a bunch of Ravens fans.
Right.
You want to get to know a team, you talk to the fans. You talk who they like, who they don't like. I talk to my Ravens fans friends, and they're very critical. They're very fact based. They don't deal in emotion. Facts over feelings. One of my friends says. Shout out to the Rogue Pod. He said,
shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take.
Shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take. Rogue Pod told me, when Jerry Rossberg retired, our special teams fell off the face of the planet.
Right.
So, okay, you're telling me it fell off the face of the planet. Why the hell do I want the special teams coach from the Baltimore Ravens then?
Right. That would make sense that you wouldn't want them to come over.
Yeah. Because you want to know whose special teams are or worse than the Ravens, who are god awful? The New York Giants.
Yeah.
Dilly, do you remember this year Monday Night Football? Remember against the Patriots?
I don't know if I watched that game. So
okay,
no.
I'll tell you what happened on special teams.
Okay.
We come out for a kick. Our kicker, as he's kicking the ball, gets his toe stuck in the turf.
I do remember this now. Yeah.
He got his foot stuck in the turf.
He kicked the ground instead of the ball.
Yes. And then in the same game, we give up a 90-yard punt return.
Yeah, that's not good.
And then in the same game, we can't block a kick return properly. And then our kick returner got his head taken off.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst displays of special teams I've ever seen in my entire life live.
Right. I remember that game now. Yeah.
And you're talking about a unit, Adelia, that had to be hamstrung by a 36-year-old Graham Gano. I got to double check if he's 36 because I don't want to disrespect him.
You keep talking. I'll double check.
Okay. He got hurt multiple times. And Joe Shane didn't want to replace him. He didn't want to cut him. He kept getting his hamstring hurt. He hurt his neck somehow.
Right. He's 38.
Well, I actually gave him two less years. I was actually complimenting him. Graham Gano at one point was one of the best kickers in the league. But guess what? He no longer is.
Yeah, he's reached that age where it's just like
it's not working.
It's not working anymore.
So this unit has been awful. There was one year where Graham Gano was actually our best offensive player, and then he got the big contract because of it. But then he hurt his neck somehow. He hurt his hamstring again.
How do you hurt your neck as a kicker?
I don't know, Adelia. That's still the baffling thing. I don't know.
I mean, did someone tackle him or something? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but so like this unit is an embarrassment.
Right.
It's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
So no, I don't want the guy who took one of the best special teams units and brought it down. How long has Chris Horton been in Baltimore, Adelia?
I'll look it up.
Can you look it up for me? Because my Baltimore Ravens friends, they say with Jerry, we were good with Jerry. And literally immediately it all went downhill after that. And I'm like, your head coach specialty is special teams.
Yeah. He was hired by Baltimore in 2015 as an assistant special teams coach. He's been the special teams coordinator since 2019.
See, literally when Jerry retired.
Yeah, when Jerry retired.
Gave him the job right away.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a unit that's an embarrassment. And you're going to get a guy that took one of your units downward.
Yeah, that makes no sense. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just me with an outside perspective because I'm not a Giants fan. I'm not a Ravens fan. I don't have any emotional attachment to either one of these teams. I don't understand a lot of the stuff that has been going on with Harbaugh going there. Like, obviously he's going to bring in his guys. Like any coach that goes somewhere, you're going to bring in the staff that you want. And I get why he's firing people, but like some of the people he wants to bring in just don't make sense.
No, I don't understand it either. Other big news coming out. The Giants have fired Kevin Abrams.
Now, who is that?
So he's their senior VP of football operations and strategy. He's been with them for 30 years. I brought him up a little earlier. Whew. 30 years.
That's hard.
Yeah. Kevin has been kind of a contract negotiations wizard. Is what I've been told. He saved negotiations from going off the rails. He's supposedly have been our cap guru. And the problem is, a lot of the people they keep saying are well respected are not very good at their jobs, Adelia.
Right.
Because you know who else is very well respected?
Who?
Their nephew, Tim McDonald. The guy.
Who's there?
The Maras. That's the Maras nephew. Okay. That's their sister's son.
Okay.
Tim McDonald. That's their sister's son. He's well respected and they all like him. And so Ian O'Connor, shout out to Ian. He's been on this John Harbaugh train since the beginning. So shout out to him. And I give him credit. Ian, if you ever wanted to talk to more people, come on the show if you want to. Maybe. He talked about Tim was at Notre Dame with Charlie Weiss. And Brian Kelly kept him because apparently everyone kept saying, "Oh, you want an answer? Go to Tim."
Okay.
But fun fact, Brian Kelly sucks. So
right.
Why do I care about Brian Kelly's opinion?
I mean, I don't know why anyone would care about Brian Kelly's opinion, but some people do.
Exactly. So what baffles me is like they want to say Brian Kelly's opinion, like, oh, listen to Brian Kelly's opinion. I don't want to listen to Brian Kelly's opinion.
Yeah. It's not like Brian Kelly's your head coach.
Exactly. And and being a football op. Oh my God, did my stuff just freeze?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. No,
Okay, that might be your internet, but I can see you're moving, so you're fine.
I'm moving. Okay. So like football operations in college football back then are different from professional football operations.
Right.
So I don't care what you did in college, Tim.
Yeah. College is an entirely different setup and structure and all of that to the pros.
Yeah.
So I don't know why anyone would think that his experience in college would make him good at the pro level. I don't know. That's kind of baffling to me too.
And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. He may be well respected and he may be well liked.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. That don't mean you're good at your job.
Very true.
That don't mean you're good at your job. Because we're talking about a family, Adelia. Well, more specifically, we're talking about Chris and his nephew, who when Jerry Reese was hired in 2007 to succeed his boss Ernie Accorsi.
Right.
Chris Mara,
this is your former GM.
Former GM, 2 Super Bowl victories.
Right.
Some 11-5 seasons, some 12-4 seasons, some 10. He was a good GM to me. You know what I mean? Most GMs don't have a lot of Super Bowls.
That's true.
Like you want to know one of the best GMs in the game today that people really like? His name is Les Snead. He's the GM of the Rams. Right. He's been with the Rams for like 20 years, 25 years. Mm-hmm. You know how many Super Bowls he has? One. You know how many losing seasons, 8-8 seasons he had?
He has
a lot. So Jerry Reese, in 10 years, netted you 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Helped build the core of the team.
Right.
But when he was first hired, Chris Mara didn't want him because he wanted the job. And Chris threw a hissy fit about it. That's fine. But here's the thing with Jerry Reese. Jerry Reese is probably, his 10 years in New York were probably the most impressive 10 years a GM ever did when you learn more about the inner workings of that front office and that ownership. Okay. And you get hired, Adelia, and right away, your first day at work, one of the owners hates you and doesn't want you to be here and wants your job.
That's tough.
He wants your job. Yeah. And he didn't want you to be there in the first place because he wanted the job. And he then proceeds to try to fight you and sabotage you for the next 10 years. And Jerry had to fight battles.
Right.
That no other GM has to fight because one of the owners doesn't like you because the other owner blocked him from being the GM.
Right.
Because John would go with it for Chris because John isn't the one who blocked it. John isn't the one who said, no, Chris, you can't be the GM. John was going to be like, okay, Chris, be the GM. Steve Tisch was like, absolutely not. We ain't doing that.
I think that's a good decision on Steve Tisch's part.
Yeah, because Ernie Accorsi said, this is my recommendation. It's Jerry Reese, my assistant. And Steve was like, let's go with him. But Chris tried to interview, didn't like that. Even tried to interview for the GM job in Atlanta, Adelia.
Okay.
So how does that make sense to me, Adelia? You're the owner of the Giants, and you want to be the GM of the Atlanta Falcons.
Did he want to be Jerry Jones? Because that's basically what he would have been. Owner, GM, running the team.
But you're GM of another team while you're owning another team.
Right. I don't think that should have been allowed.
He
at
wasn't.
all. Yeah. But like if he had gotten the GM job in New York, like a Jerry Jones situation, that's what that would turn into.
Hmm.
Because there'd be no one to tell him no.
There would be no. Okay, sorry. I gotta get some electrolytes in this
No,
morning.
you're fine. You're fine.
George Young said, "No one should be unfireable in personnel department decisions." The personnel department.
Right.
No one should be unfireable. So that basically means no family members.
Right.
And that's what George Young did. George Young was actually appointed by the NFL, Adelia, not by the Giants, to run the New York Giants. Because the Giants were in a civil war
Right.
between Wellington and his nephew.
Mm-hmm.
And George Young was there to basically fix them.
Okay.
2 Super Bowls, Adelia. Netted 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Jerry Reese, 2 Super Bowls.
2
Netted
Super
them.
Bowls. Yeah.
People are giving Chris a lot of credit. Like, oh, look at Chris. I really like Chris. He seems cool. You know, it's like, well, yeah, because we haven't seen him in action, actually. He hasn't
Yeah.
actually made any decisions.
Right. Until this John Harbaugh one.
Yeah. Until this moment. And they think, oh, he got us John Harbaugh. Okay, that's cool. It could be a good decision. We don't know.
I mean, it's a tremendous failing upwards for John Harbaugh. That he gets fired from Baltimore and then immediately gets a 5-year, $100 million contract.
Crazy.
It makes no sense.
And what did Chris really do? Agree to his terms?
Yeah, like
You agreed to his terms. You
agreed
gave
to
him
his terms.
you
He's
gave him
basically
support.
neutered Joe Shane completely.
Yeah. Exactly. Then why keep him?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he fired with Brian Dable? He has no purpose here.
He has no power anymore.
He's zero power, zero purpose. It makes no sense. The reason Chris basically said this. All right, John, we drank 2 bottles of wine. I got you a steak. I agree to your terms. Do whatever you want. Because with what he did to Ronnie Barnes today and Kevin Abrams means that John Harbaugh said, I want full autonomy, I want full power, and I want to do whatever I want. And
Right.
all Chris said, you know what? Deal. I could do that.
Yeah. Jay saying, so Joe is going to be the new EDC.
Basically. Because apparently, did you hear? John Harbaugh wanted to draft Puka Nacua in the 5th round. But he was overruled. And they drafted Caillou Blue Kelly.
Yeah, that seems like something that you would say to try to make yourself look better.
Apparently.
Yeah.
The media apparatus for him is insane because man's out here just lying.
Right.
Man's out here just lying.
Right.
Ain't no way. So the power, it's Ronnie Barnes being shipped out. There's going to be a new athletic trainer, a new overhaul of the medical staff. And here's the thing too. I think a lot of people blame Ronnie for the injuries we've suffered over the years. But I don't really think people understand what training staffs do in the NFL. Because in football, injuries are going to occur. Regardless. They're going to occur.
Right. I mean, it's the way it is with any sport.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to happen. And they're going to happen to players you really need, and they're going to happen at the most inopportune times.
Absolutely. Training staffs are there to take you from injury to healthy as quickly as possible and as healthy as possible and as safely as possible.
Correct.
They don't do injury prevention because you can't prevent injury.
Right. I mean, you can do strength and conditioning to try to keep yourself in good shape, but like injury can happen at any moment.
Exactly. And especially in football, Adelia, where you're literally throwing yourself at other human beings at high speeds left and right.
Yeah.
Where you're cutting on a dime or you're you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Or you're the offensive line trying to guard someone and you get a chop block into your knee or something like that. Like anything can happen. I want to take a moment here to say Hello to Frank. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Frank, how are you? Yeah, so a lot of anger was towards Ronnie for the last couple years. Like Ronnie ain't doing his job right. Where we're always injured. What's going on?
Yeah, like
Is it Ronnie's fault that Malik Neighbors jumped up and his knee exploded?
I mean, no, it's not. I mean, like, just no.
Exactly.
But this goes back to what we were talking about a little earlier. Oh, Frank says he's good. That's good.
That's wonderful, Frank.
Um, Harbaugh's gonna want his guys.
Yes.
Harbaugh's gonna this is what a lot of people that we know, Ravens fans, have been talking about for a while. The guys over at Lunch Break Hot Take and the Rogue Pod have all been saying for a while Harbaugh likes his guys. And it's the old boys club, basically. Like, coaching staffs sometimes are made up of, okay, we're going to get the best coaches that fit the system we want to play, and it doesn't matter if they're a young guy on his way up and it's his first time as a coordinator, or if it's an older guy who's better on the block but his system still works. Some coaching staffs are like that. Other coaching staffs are like, I just want my friends around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Frank's right. John just wants to run it back. Um, that's what he was doing in Baltimore with the way he was hiring. Like when I heard Chuck Pagano was on the Ravens staff this year, I was like, what?
He
Like,
wants he wants to run it back with people who didn't win anything with Lamar
exactly,
Jackson.
exactly.
You were
Like,
given Lamar Jackson, and in 8 years, you won what, 2 playoff games?
I don't know,
2 or 3, I think.
2 or 3. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think they beat
I heard
Pittsburgh,
Hendo and,
Houston.
and Jose and Brodney say it so much this season, but I don't remember what they said.
I think it was like 3, bro. It was like 3. It
Yeah,
was like 3, and it's insane to me. And here's the other big news coming out. Apparently, Adelia,
yeah,
2 hours ago, by shout out to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.
yeah. One Super Bowl in what, 19 years? Like,
18 years, one Super Bowl, and it was okay. Here's the thing about that Super Bowl, right? I keep going back to this. Bernard Pollard did a podcast a couple of years ago,
mm-hmm.
and he tells people we stopped listening to him.
Right,
That's why we won the Super Bowl. We stopped listening to him,
right.
and
I mean, I think that was fairly obvious.
I'm like, wait, what do you mean you just stopped listening to your head coach? Bernard Pollard said, yeah, we stopped listening to him. That's why we won.
Yeah.
Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
I mean, you had, like, I hate this phrase, but I don't know how else to say it. You had so many coaches on the field in that
Ray
Super
Lewis,
Bowl winning team. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed,
Haloti
Haloti
Ngata,
Nada,
Terrell
like
Suggs,
Terrell Suggs,
Bernard
um,
Pollard.
Bernard Paula, Marshall Yanda on the offensive side of the ball, right?
Yep, Marshall
So,
Yanda, Anquan Bolden, Jimmy Smith.
exactly. So, they had the experience and the talent on the field to sort of ignore the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But the later years of the Ravens, like, Lamar is Lamar, obviously. Lamar's a fantastic player. But they didn't surround him with the kind of caliber of player that they had when they had the Super Bowl. They didn't have the experience, they didn't have the talent, and it showed. I mean, their season this year was awful.
Forget about this season. They won a Super Bowl and they missed the playoffs 3 of the next 5 years.
Exactly.
3 of the next 5 years, you missed the playoffs. And the year that Lamar Jackson was starting, you were 4-5 after 3 straight losses. You're 4-5. He went 6-1. You guys beat the Chargers during the season. You faced the Chargers again in the playoffs. They adjusted to you, but you didn't adjust to them. That's bad coaching.
Right. You have to know that the game is going to be different than the first game. You can't go in with the same game plan that you had in the first game. Like, I used to think John Harbaugh was a really good coach. I mean, anybody that spends that long at one team, is doing something right. And then I started working as the producer for Lunch Break Hot Take and Rogue Pod, and I learned a lot more about the Ravens this year. I didn't really know that much about the Ravens before. And I totally understand where they were coming from with the we just need him gone mentality by the end of the season. I I think that, like, to spin this in a little bit of a positive direction, I do think change will be good for the
Yes.
Giants. I do think that it's important to get a coach in there who's not a brand new head coach, not unsure of himself like that. Harbaugh, for all his flaws and his faults, he knows who he is as a coach. He knows what his message is going to be. He knows what he's going to do. He's going to surround himself with the old boys network of people that are going to go along and do that. But that still could be good for the Giants because you guys haven't had that kind of experience and stability in the coaching staff in a while.
Since Tom Coughlin. Since
Exactly.
we hired Tom Coughlin from Jacksonville. Speaking of old boys club and one of their guys,
Yeah.
Jeremy Fowler, like I said from ESPN, said apparently the Giants have requested to interview Ravens running backs coach and associate head coach Willie Taggart for the vacant offensive coordinator position. Because this is a promotion interview, they can't block it.
Right.
They
Right.
can't block it.
Because he's the running backs coach in Baltimore.
Exactly.
This would be the offensive coordinator. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're telling me they want a coach that isn't secure enough to tell the head coach, hey, Derrick Henry's having a really great game. We should play him more in the second half.
The use of Derrick Henry in some of those Ravens games this year just made absolutely no sense. And like, you guys don't have a running back as good as Derrick Henry is.
No.
Like,
so you're telling me you wanna give the job to the coach that was in charge of your guys' running back room that he completely messed it up. It was a game against the Patriots this year. He was cooking them, Adelia. Right. And he did not see a single snap in the final 2 drives of the game. And
that's just crazy.
And they lost 28-24. So either the head coach basically told Willie Taggart to shut up and not put him in the game, or Willie Taggart didn't put him in the game. And
that's Coach Evans. Really insane.
Shout out to Coach Evans. I asked him what do
Sip to Tally Films?
Yep, Sip to Tally Films. Yeah, Sip to Tally Films for more Ravens content. I asked them what do assistant coaches do on game day? What do they do? Because I want to know, because our defensive line coach, Andre Patterson, defensive line was horrible. So I need to find out what does he do on game day? I was like, what's the game plan? So he says game plan comes from the defensive coordinator, how they want them to stunt and split and all that stuff. And the coach is in charge of substitutions. So I'm okay, if that's what the defensive line does, that's probably what other positional coaches do. So he was in charge of the substitutions for the running backs. And he was horrible. Right. He was bad.
Yeah.
And you want to hire him for our offensive coordinator position? Come on, son. Come on, son.
Yeah.
He's waiting for Todd Monken not to get a job. He's probably going to bring Todd Monken to New York. Maybe. Or Todd Monken may not come because, there was a report that him and John, were, arguing. But then, it's football. People argue. So they probably, it is what they're waiting for Todd Monken. But if you want to, I ain't trying to hire Willie Taggart. You serious, though? You serious, bro? Because here's the thing too, Adelia. He hires Willie Taggart, Adelia. Willie Taggart's in charge of the offense. Because again, John Harbaugh doesn't have a specialty on offense or defense. So he doesn't do anything. He was a special
teams coordinator.
Yes. He's a CEO head coach. Is what people keep talking about. He's a CEO head coach. Fares is a CEO head coach. Okay, cool. You want Willie Taggart to run your offense? Is that what you want?
I mean, I wouldn't. Knowing what I know about how the running backs were managed in Baltimore.
Exactly. On the defensive side, Dan Duggan brought out a couple of names. Anthony Weaver.
Right.
Former defensive coordinator for Miami for the past 2 years. And Zach Orr.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't think he's still with Baltimore. So he's a free agent. So it's not a block. But also too, there's Jim Leonard, the passing game coordinator and associate head coach in Denver that you know all about. He was a former player. He's one of the candidates. So it's Weaver, Leonard, Orr. Probably not going to be Orr. And then Bernard Wilson, the defensive coordinator from Tennessee. If Robert Saleh keeps him or not keeps him, we will see. And the name that's not connected to John Harbaugh. It's passing game coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, uh, Durante Jones,
Right.
and there's another defensive line coach, Joe Cullen, who's connected to Baltimore. He was the defensive line coach from 16 to 2020.
Yeah.
So everyone's connected to John except the Durante Jones. That's it. Everyone's connected to him but him. We have a player, former positional coaches. Denard and Anthony Weaver were on the same team under Mike McDonald.
Right.
Him, Weaver, or were the three candidates for the defensive coordinator position in Baltimore. John picked Orr over the other two.
Right.
Even though Denard Wilson coached the unit that was the best unit of the three, the DBs.
Right. Right.
And the other two men left because they wanted defensive coaching jobs.
I mean,
So
I
we'll
would have
see.
too.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. We can give him credit for hiring Mike McDonald, even though his brother said he was his brother's defensive coordinator, and then he became John's defensive coordinator. He was a Ravens.
That's another thing about the coaching stuff is there's so much like, oh well, he was good for Jim, so he'd be good with John, and he was good with John, so he'd be good with Jim. Like there's so much of that going on.
Well, Mike, it worked.
With Mike, it worked. Mike McDonald is a fantastic head coach. You can tell, fantastic coach, period. You can tell by what he did in Seattle this year with Sam Darnold and that team. He should be coach of the year, I think, when the NFL honors goes.
I agree.
And I think it'd be well deserved. But yeah, Frank saying, I live in Baltimore, but I am so interested in what John does with Giants, and I am a Ravens fan.
I think everyone is, because here's the thing too, Frank. 18 years, get fired, and then one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. We've been bad for years, but we're still one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. Okay, that's just facts. Right. People hate us. People hate the Giants. It's fine. The marquee franchises in the NFL are Bears, Packers, Giants, Niners,
right,
and Raiders. Like that's just facts. That's just facts. You were given $100 million. $100 million. You were given $100 million.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I said this when we first hired him. I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna repeat it till people get it, because no one wants to talk about it. You are what your contract says you are, and you are what your record says you are. His contract is saying this and only this: playoffs and a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not sometimes playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl.
Right.
No. That's not what his contract's saying. His contract is saying you will be in the playoffs every year, and you will win at least one Super Bowl. Because I know winning a Super Bowl is hard. So winning multiple,
it's very hard.
Winning multiple is what really this contract's saying. But I'm gonna bring down the expectations
You're dialing it back a little bit.
I'm dialing it back a little. Give me at least one.
Yeah.
That's what.
Not even an appearance. You're getting paid $100 million to coach this team. You better deliver. I totally understand why you have those expectations on based on that contract. I just don't think he has the coaching aptitude to deliver that.
Like it did. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, they all have these big old contracts.
Right.
Joe Burrow got these big old contracts. And we hold them to standards. Like, this is what your contract says. You better play better.
Right. The players get held to all these standards based on, their contracts and the way that their first few years in the league goes, and, even based off their reputations coming into the league from college. I don't understand why it's not the same with coaches. I really do not understand why sometimes coaches are just so mediocre and keep jobs for so long, because it's okay to maybe win a division every 4 or 5 years? maybe make it into the playoffs as a wild card. Like, that should not be anybody in the league's goal. Now, I know it
No.
is for some people in the league. I just don't think that that's a very healthy competitive mindset, and I think that it just slips the team further and further into mediocrity, and that's kind of what happened to the Giants ever since, the era with Eli and the Super Bowls and beating the undefeated Patriots and all of that ended. You guys have had so many coaches, and you've tried so many different quarterbacks and all kinds of stuff, and none of these experiments, none of these risks. Like, I remember you and I talking when they traded up to draft Daniel Jones,
No, we didn't
and
trade
you
up.
or whatever, but you drafted Daniel
Yeah.
Jones that high in the draft is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Why? Why did you do that?"
Because everyone kept saying he's not a top 10 pick. He shouldn't be in the top 10. You guys can get him in the 20s. No one's going to draft him. But
Yeah.
David Gettleman was like, that's my guy, and I want him.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. His first game. Okay, here's the thing about Daniel Jones that
Look,
always gets me.
yeah.
I don't want to talk about Daniel Jones. He's a cult. We're moving on. We're not talking about him. Like,
Well, my point is, you guys have taken these risks, and you have experimented with the lineup. You've experimented
Mhm.
with different coaches coming in. Brian Dayball was supposed to be the answer. Like, all of these things is supposed to be, on and on and on, and then none of it's worked. So you're
yeah.
trying to find somebody who comes in to coach the team and have that stability that you guys have been missing for a long time. And yes, it means that a lot of people are being fired. Like, we have Nelson here in the chat saying, your thoughts on Kevin Abrams fired.
Like, finally, people wanted this man fired for the last 5-10 years.
Right. Tell me who Kevin Abrams is, because I don't know.
Well, like he's the vice president of football operations and strategy for the Giants.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I didn't
That
remember
guy.
his name.
Yeah, it's that guy. He's expertise are like he's like the cap guy. He's
Right.
like the cap and the contracts guy. That's
Right.
what he is. He does contracts and cap stuff, and
And you need one of those on a team, but if he's not structuring the cap space in a way that you guys have flexibility and room to improve, then I don't really see what he's doing well. So I get why people wanted him fired if that's the case, because you guys
Mhm.
have had really poor roster construction for years.
He was also the assistant GM for many years. 20 of the 27, he was the assistant GM. He joined
Yeah.
us as a salary cap analyst.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was like, and he was like negotiating. So, in some of these contracts that were negotiated under his watch, I'm like, why did you give Kenny Galladay this much money?
Yeah.
You gave a wide receiver who had one good year that was been injured a lot in Detroit. He was a contract year player, and you
Mhm.
gave him like $90 million.
Right.
You mismanaged the Leonard Williams contract.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he saved that negotiation before it went off the rails. Apparently, like, okay, what does that mean? Well,
Yeah.
you messed up the contract, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Saving it by giving Leonard what he wanted. You're supposed to try to win these negotiations. You may not. You're not going to win all of them. Let's say if Lamar Jackson rolled up and said, give me my money," like you're going to give Lamar Jackson his money. But other
Right.
players, you can haggle and negotiate.
Right.
And they may say yes, they may say no. And then, strategical planning, like data and, analytics and all that stuff. Most NFL teams, like, what does analytics look like in the NFL?
Yeah.
What do they look at? Because every time I watch a game, they say, "Oh, the analytics tell us they should go for it on fourth and 5 in their inside
in
their own
this
15."
situation,
Yeah.
like, and I don't understand the analytics part of sports in general. It's every sport now. Everything's about the analytics, this is what you should do based on the data. But like, the data isn't in the moment, in that game, with the players in that game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Before we continue on, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in and joined us here. If you would be so kind, please like the video, Share the video if you have other Giants fans who might be interested in this video, and please subscribe to the channel. Ferris and our friend Caleb do the Good Friends Better Rivals podcast every Friday 5 p.m. Pacific. There's not going to be a show this week, but every
No.
Friday 5 p.m. Pacific, they talk Cowboys and Giants and all things NFC East. So subscribe, tune in. Ferris goes on some legendary rants on that show, and I have a feeling you'll go on quite a few this year.
Yeah, well, this was supposed to be like an edited video with like stuff like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then I knew this week is gonna be a little hectic, so I kind of was like, I can't sleep. Let's go live because I couldn't sleep because I woke up, I doom scrolled Twitter real quick. I saw all these firings, I saw all these shakeups, and what, change can be good, and we'll see if it is good. We'll see.
Right.
A lot of people in the Giants organization are well respected, and Giants fans like laugh at that, and we're like, well respected. You guys say that about everybody, even the guys who don't know how to do their jobs. So Giants fans are saying, if someone's well respected in this organization, fire them. And Kevin Abrams, well respected. Tim McDonald, well respected. Ronnie Barnes, well respected. Two of them don't have the same job anymore. One was fired. The other one was given a role to oversee the athletic department.
Right.
So Ronnie Barnes will oversee the athletic department. He won't be the athletic trainer anymore.
Right.
What does that mean this upcoming season? We don't know. But it means one thing. Because here's the thing about Ronnie Barnes, like I said earlier in the video, shout out to the 10 people in the chat. If you guys I know I'm kind of repeating myself. He was deemed untouchable. So him not being in that job, it's kind of, someone said it in an article I read, it's John getting rid of him, but navigating a political landmine that he didn't want to explode because it's Ronnie Barnes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jay saying, I hope John isn't singing I Lied to You from Sinners in 5 years.
It's true. It's true. Nice reference, Jay. Speaking of Sinners, 16 Oscar nominations this morning.
Yeah, we got a short up on the our sister channel, the post credits, thepostcredits.com to get to that channel. Go over there and subscribe. Put up a short about the Oscar nominations over there on that channel this morning.
Also, in defensive coordinator spot, I brought up Zach Orr earlier. If he's not going to bring Zach Orr to New York, that means that's an admittance of him knowing that he made the wrong choice in Baltimore.
Right. Yeah.
He admitted, like, if Zach Orr isn't with us as our DC,
I mean, it could be as well that Zach Orr just doesn't want to work with him anymore, but
could be.
Yeah, it'd be an either or situation there.
But if Zach Orr said, but if they're saying be the defensive coordinator for us, and another person's asking to, because Zach Orr is an inside linebackers coach. He was an inside linebackers coach before he became a defensive coordinator. So if John's saying be my DC, or you got to be an inside linebacker coach for somebody else, you're going to take the pay bump and you're going to take it. So
right.
So if he does,
thank you for watching it, Jay. I appreciate
thank you, Jay. So if you're not going to bring Zach Orr with you to be your DC, you just said, "Oh, I messed up in Baltimore."
Right.
So you messed up in Baltimore by hiring the wrong assistant.
I mean, he has to know that he messed up in Baltimore. I mean, he constructed a coaching staff that did not help the Ravens develop players, and it led to him being fired. So he has to know that he messed that up.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't recognize that he messed that up, then that's a real problem.
Yeah. Kevin Abrams, the big thing is, at one point, he was a GM in waiting, Adelia.
Okay.
He was going to be the GM. And then he took a back seat because Brandon Brown was hired as the assistant GM with Joe Shane, who's still there, Brandon Brown.
Okay.
So that's what's crazy about this about him being fired. The
TD, the defense give up, it was rough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Chidobe Awuzie just slipped and fell. You know what I mean? It was, the defense just wasn't good this year. It decreased under Mike McDonald, under him. It happened. You had the same unit, give or take one or two players.
Yeah, I remember going into the season hearing about how Baltimore had the best defense in the league, and they definitely didn't.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
So, yeah.
more news on the Willie Taggart stuff that I brought up earlier.
Okay.
This is probably just going to be like a coordinated process interview. Todd Monken is the leading candidate to be the OC,
Right.
but Willie Taggart may join him because Willie Taggart, you want to talk about a Harbaugh guy, Adelia,
Right.
through and through. Jim and John recruited him for their dad, Jack, at Western Kentucky.
Okay.
So he's known the Harbaughs since he was 18.
Okay.
He's been with them since the beginning. And he's been with them at certain points. So Willie's gonna come. Willie's joining us with regardless. Willie Taggart's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Willie Taggart's coming.
All right, we got a couple questions in the chat. Jay saying, "Do you think any DB in this draft can help the Giants secondary?"
Caleb Downs. We need safety help. He's the best safety. Probably corner, definitely. Mansour Delaney, the cornerback out of LSU. Avion Terrell, the cornerback out of Clemson. Avion Terrell, young brother of AJ Terrell. I saw a rep of Avion in practice, and it was one of the best reps I've ever seen Adelia in pass pro. Literally, the way he just stuck on that guy, the way he just flowed with him. He ran this double move route. It was kind of like a chop and then an out. But Avion was held him. So like those three guys would be very good. Then you have the corners out of Tennessee, Gerard McCoy. You have them. But yeah.
All right. We have another question from Nelson. How many primetime games can we get for next season now that we have John Harbaugh as a head coach? Suge also trolling you, saying you're a Harbaugh guy. And pause, Fares.
Yeah, because I said stuck on you, apparently. I guess I think probably 4
primetime games?
4 or 5. I think we face Philly in primetime opening week.
Well, your Thursday night game will be primetime.
Yes. That's one.
That's one. And you think you're going to be on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, because
2 to 3 more times?
Yeah, I think so. Because, I think we'll face Philly early on Sunday night. John's first game, prime time against against the team that helped him launch his NFL coaching career.
Yeah.
Against Philly. You can do that. Former Philly special teams coach John. Yeah. I think it's gonna be one of the Philly games. We're going Sunday night. We're going to Thursday night game.
Cowboys Giants, a primetime game.
If we're both good, maybe.
Yeah.
Towards the end, depending on, if, we face each other on, it's just depending.
It depends on the schedule. It
depends on the schedule. Yeah, I think about 3 or 4.
Okay.
I think about 3 or 4. And, and if we're good, they're going to flex some of our games to Sunday night towards the end of the season if we're in like high intense games.
Yeah.
Because, Giants being good is, when I remember when we were good in the early 2010s, every year we opened Sunday night with Dallas, us and Dallas every year. It felt like it was us versus Dallas on Sunday night for like 3 straight years. Because, it was Eli versus Romo, Dallas, Giants. You know what I mean? Right. I remember we opened Jerry's World and we beat them on Sunday night. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. So yeah, I expect 3 or 4. Yeah. Willie Taggart. Like I brought up his deal. He was Western Kentucky's wide receivers coach after he was the quarterback for Western Kentucky under Jack Harbaugh. He was recruited by Jim to play for his dad. So he was their quarterback until he became the receivers coach in '99. Then he became the QB coach in 2000, and he stayed with Jack till Jack left, and then he went to Stanford with Jim.
And
then he became the head coach at Western Kentucky.
Okay.
And then he became the head coach at South Florida, Oregon, Florida State, and the Florida Atlantic. Then he was fired, and then he went and got a job with John in Baltimore in 2023. Because
this is what we were talking about earlier. Like all the Harbaughs have this like group of friends that are also coaches that they just like trade.
Yeah,
It's like a shell game. Like, which Harbaugh will I end up with next? Like,
pretty much. So yeah, they're just passing around their assistants. Who needs a job? Who needs a job? Come one and all. Come one and all. Were you under my dad? Were you under Jim? Who were you? You played under Jack? Come here.
are you an older coach in the league
Yes.
that needs a job? We'll find a place
Yeah.
for you. I mean,
Chuck Pagano.
Chuck Pagano, man.
Chuck Pagano. I don't know, man. I've you know, that's what it is, Frank. They're just passing each other around, man. It's just passing the collection plate. They're passing each other. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I mean, John Harbaugh's not even in Baltimore anymore, and it's still kind of happening because with Jesse Minter's, one of the leading candidates for the Ravens job. Like, get some new, fresh blood into this coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have a chance to be good because I think Jackson Dart, if you can develop him correctly, could be a really good quarterback in the league. Cam Scattaboo, who knows? He's a wild card. But you guys have some really good pieces. Abdul Carter on the defensive side, Brian Burns. Like, you guys have some really good players. It's just you haven't been able to have a coaching staff surrounding those players that can support them, develop them, and move you guys forward.
That's the thing, right? His offensive coordinator choice is key to everything.
Yeah.
Because if Jackson Dart doesn't take the next step and he like develops like CJ Stroud, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because we saw what happened with CJ. Great first year. Has not reached it since.
He's been pretty stagnant ever since. And then he gets to the playoffs this year, and like that game against the Steelers, 5 turnovers. You can't do that. No, he had 5 turnovers in that game. 3 of them lost. That's what I read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 'cause the 3, the 2, I think the 2 picks and the fumble.
Yeah, something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then he had 4 turnovers in the Patriots game. So he had 7 turnovers lost in 2 games.
Yeah, you can't do that if you want to win a Super Bowl.
You can't do that. So Jack, the offensive coordinator spot is key.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Todd Monken, we'll see. Because I like Todd's offense in Georgia with those 2 national titles. I was a big fan of those. But here's the thing. That's college.
Yeah.
College offenses are a little different. That's why a lot of people are not convinced about Fernando Mendoza. Because the way Indiana does their offense, it's RPO, first option.
Oh, it's 2 fumbles and an interception.
2 fumbles and an interception. Yeah. It's like very quick, RPO, quick pass game. And then when they go deep, it's just back shoulder.
Right.
It's back shoulder. He had a couple of good throws against Oregon. I remember the deep out to Elijah Surratt one time in the first Oregon game. Yeah. But we'll see how Fernando develops because college offenses, they don't help QBs. They don't. Right. So we'll see. And with Jackson, we need more development with him because there were moments where Jackson Dart, he had some throws, man, where I was like, that's a pinpoint pass, man. Yes, if the Steelers had any offense, they would have beaten the Texans. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and if you guys had any defense, you would have beaten the Broncos. You would have beaten a lot of these close games that you were in. So
we could have beaten Chicago. Should have beaten the Broncos.
Yeah.
Like giving up 33 points in one quarter. That's historic. That's historically bad. That's like
a collapse that just should not happen.
Yeah. You know what? It was impressive. I was impressed.
It kind of was. It kind of was.
I was impressed how bad they were.
Yeah.
I was also impressed how bad they were in the Cowboys game. You take the lead with 20 seconds left. You know what I mean? With 20 seconds left, and you just did one play where you almost get a sack, and then you completely disregard anything else. They were historically and impressively bad. At moments, I just laughed at Adelia.
Yeah.
So honestly, I understand Jackson Dart. Who's going to be my defensive coordinator? And I need to know what you're calling. You know what I mean? Because you got a good cornerback in Cordell Flott. He's a man-to-man guy. He's a good cornerback too. You know what I mean? We have good pieces, like you said. Kayvon Thibodeau, Tibbs. I said Tibbs twice. Tibbs, Burns, Carter. And if you don't know how to use all three of them together, then you shouldn't be the defensive coordinator.
Right.
Because you don't get rid of good players.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's been trade chatter for Tibbs for this last year, going into this offseason. Why would you get rid of your best run defender, defensive end?
I don't know.
Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, very good pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to see more in the run game. Kayvon Thibodeau is kind of a complete defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping the run, rushing the passer. Pretty good. He was injured. He's been some injuries the last 2 years, but he's a complete defensive end.
Right.
Some defensive ends, you run at them because you sack them. Like Michael Parsons, people for years, you ran at him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he would try to get his sack, but you would run at him to stop him.
Right.
You can't do that with Tibbs. He wants you to run at him because he knows how to hold the edge. And while you don't trade good players.
No, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Has he been the 5th overall pick for most people? Probably not. I think he still has another notch to go up. But, the injuries have really hampered him. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Fares. We've been doing this for about over an hour now, so I think we should
go.
Get on out of here.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you like this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this video with other Giants fans with you. So be on the lookout for more Giants specific.
Or share the video with other Ravens fans who are looking for information on Harbaugh, because there's a lot of them too.
I don't know why, but
Jay saying going to need the Giants to take one of our 5th rounders and Xavier Legette for Thibodeau.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't insult me with that horrible trade, Jay. You already won the trade with Brian Burns. You're not winning another trade. So good luck.
Okay.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay safe. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. And always be someone you can be proud of. Peace out, y'all.